The room at the Conrad Seoul Hotel was bathed in soft golden light. The kind that makes even the most crowded press gatherings feel strangely intimate. Cameras lined the back wall, their red lights flickering as reporters leaned forward, pens poised, waiting for that one moment that would make headlines. Jung So-min sat at the center of the stage, her hands gently folded over her lap. And next to her was Jung Hae, whose quiet yet steadfast presence filled the room. It was a rare occasion. A press event that no one had anticipated would turn so personal, so raw, so deeply emotional. And yet, from the moment she adjusted the microphone and looked out into the sea of eager faces, everyone could sense this was not going to be just another media appearance. I have carried this story in my heart for a long time, she began softly, her voice steady yet laced with a vulnerability that silenced even the clicking shutters. Today, I want to share with you the journey that changed my life forever. The revelation of her pregnancy had first come as whispers, a flurry of speculation in tabloids and online forums. Fans wondered if the couple, who had been admired for their quiet romance and strong bond, were finally starting a family. But nothing could have prepared anyone for the truth that Jung So-min was about to share. She looked at Jung Hae, offered her the smallest of nods, as if to say, "You're not alone. We're in this together." She began by recalling the moment she first discovered she was pregnant. It was a mix of emotions I can hardly describe, pure joy, disbelief, fear. I remember sitting there, holding the test in my hands, and thinking, my life will never be the same again. At the time, her career was thriving. She had multiple projects lined up on her desk, and a fan base that adored her every role. But behind the glamorous facade, there was also an undeniable undercurrent of uncertainty. What would motherhood mean for her? How would the public react? Jung Hae's voice broke the silence as he shared his side of the story. When she told me, I felt overwhelmed. Not in a bad way, but in that my world just shifted kind of way. I promised her right then that no matter what challenges came, she wouldn't face them alone. I wanted to be her anchor. The first trimester was far from easy. Jung So-min described the constant nausea, sleepless nights, and the crippling back pain that made even the simplest tasks feel impossible. There were days she could barely lift her head from the pillow. Days when tears came uninvited, spilling down her cheeks as she wondered if she was strong enough for this new chapter of life. There were moments I felt so weak, she confessed, eyes glistening. Moments I questioned myself. Questioned whether I could be a good mother while still holding on to the person I was. But in those darkest hours, Jung Hae became her unwavering pillar of support. He cooked meals tailored to her cravings, attended every doctor's appointment, and spent long nights reading parenting books by her side. I wanted her to know that she never had to carry this alone, he said quietly, his gaze fixed on her. Every pain, every fear, I wanted to be there through it all. The press leaned forward as Jung So-min spoke about the emotional toll of living in the public eye while experiencing such an intimate, life-altering journey. She had hidden her growing belly beneath oversized coats, avoided social gatherings, dodged invasive questions. There were days I felt like I was living a double life, smiling for the cameras, while inside, I was struggling to keep it together, she admitted. The challenges. There were also moments of pure, indescribable joy. Each time they heard their baby's heartbeat, Jung Hae squeezed her hand so tightly she thought it might bruise. As like listening to the sound of hope itself, he recalled, smiling faintly at the memory. Tiny heartbeat changed everything for us. Well, their happiness was soon overshadowed by an unexpected fear. During a routine checkup, doctors discovered a potential complication that required immediate monitoring. Jung So-min paused, her voice trembling as she recounted that day. Felt like the ground had been ripped out from under us. All I could think about was whether our baby would be okay. I never left her side. He held her hand through sleepless nights, whispered reassurances when anxiety became unbearable, and found small ways to remind her of the life they were building together. He even started a journal addressed to their unborn child, filling its pages with hopes, promises, and letters of love. I wanted our baby to know that even before they were born. So deeply cherished, he said, his voice cracking ever so slightly. By the time the second trimester rolled around, the couple had found a fragile sense of stability. They decorated the nursery together, using soft pastels and whimsical prints. They spent evenings talking about baby names, laughing over silly options before finally settling on one that felt just right. Those moments of quiet happiness became our refuge, Jung So-min said. Even when I was in pain. Those evenings reminded me why it was all worth it. The calm did not last. One night, barely a month before her due date, Jung So-min was rushed to the hospital with severe pain. I remember the panic. The flashing lights in the ambulance. And holding my hand, whispering, "Everything will be okay, just hold on." The room grew impossibly silent as she recounted the moment. The second part of their story, she promised. Reveal the night that tested them more than ever before, the night that showed them both the true depth of their love and resilience. As the cameras flashed and reporters scribbled notes, I knew this was not just a story of fame or glamour. It was a story of two people stripped down to their truest selves, bound by a love that had been tested in ways few could ever imagine. The night of the emergency remained vivid in their minds. The hospital was a whirlwind of doctors, nurses, hurried voices echoing down stark white corridors. Jung So-min was rushed into a room, her face contorted in pain, her hands gripping the sheets as she fought back tears. And never let go of her hand, even as medical staff moved frantically around them. I was terrified, he admitted, his eyes glistening. But I knew I had to be strong for her, for our baby. The hours that followed were some of the longest of their lives. Doctors worked tirelessly, monitoring every heartbeat, every contraction, while the couple clung to each other as if sheer willpower could hold the world together. There were moments when fear nearly consumed them. Moments when the possibility of loss felt too close, too real. But amid the chaos, there were also small miracles, encouraging words from nurses, fleeting smiles that reminded them they were not alone. And then, finally, the moment came. A cry pierced the air, small yet powerful, filling the room with a sense of relief so overwhelming that both parents broke down in tears. When I heard that cry, I felt like I could breathe again. Jung So-min whispered. It was the sound of life, the sound of hope. Jung Hae held their newborn in his arms, tears falling freely as he looked down at the tiny life they had fought so hard to protect. "She's perfect," he said, his voice breaking. "You're incredible. Strongest person I know." The weeks that followed were a blur of sleepless nights and new beginnings. I learned how to swaddle, how to soothe cries, navigate parenthood together. Through it all, Jung Hae remained the steady presence he had always been, changing diapers, singing lullabies, ensuring that Jung So-min never felt alone in the daunting yet beautiful journey of motherhood. Looking back, the actress reflected on how deeply the experience had changed her. "It taught me about love in its purest form, the kind that sacrifices, that endures, that never wavers no matter how hard things get," she said, glancing at her husband with a soft smile. And added, "We've been blessed with so much in our careers. Nothing compares to the blessing of our child. It's a different kind of joy. One that humbles you. One that makes you grateful for every little thing." As the press conference drew to a close, the couple expressed their gratitude to fans for their unwavering support and understanding during such a private time in their lives. They promised that while they would always value their privacy as a family, they also hoped to share glimpses of their journey as parents in the future, not as celebrities, but as two people deeply in love. Child together. And with that, the cameras captured one final image, Jung So-min and Jung Hae holding hands, smiling through tears. A picture of love that had survived pain, fear, and uncertainty. Their story was not just about fame or success, it was about the unshakable bond between two people who had chosen each other, every step of the way. And when the road was harder than they could have ever imagined. In the end, love, real love, isn't about perfection. It's about standing together through the pain and joy, knowing that no matter what, we'll never have to face it alone.